Pay attention to this security camera footage. November 2019. A sterile hallway in a Bozeman hospice facility. Soft overhead lights. A nurse in navy scrubs steps out of room 214, chart in hand. Behind her, an elderly woman in a pale robe shuffles forward on a walker, oxygen tubing trailing like a thin lifeline. The woman stops. The nurse turns. For 6 seconds, they face each other. Then, the older woman reaches out with trembling hands. They embrace. The elderly woman's shoulders begin to shake. Silent, deep sobs. The nurse holds her firmly, one palm steady between her shoulder blades, the other cradling the back of her head. No sound, no words, just that quiet, mutual hold. The clip ends. 6 seconds. 4 years later, the nurse in that hallway would be found executed in the remote pines of the Bridger Mountains, and those same 6 seconds would be submitted in probate court as alleged proof of emotional manipulation, of calculated dependency, of a long con to steal an $8.2 million fortune from a dying woman's rightful heirs. But the footage reveals nothing of the kind. April 19, 2023, 7:42 a.m. Bridger Canyon Trail, Gallatin National Forest. A solitary hiker crests a rise and freezes. 20 yards off the narrow path, half hidden by lodgepole pine and fallen needles, a woman lies face down, mid-50s, motionless. He approaches, sees the single dark wound at the base of her skull, backs away, and dials 911. Gallatin County Sheriff's deputies arrive within 33 minutes. They confirm one gunshot wound, execution style, entry at the occiput. No exit wound, no defensive injuries, no signs of a struggle. Estimated time of death, less than 24 hours prior, sometime during the night of April 18. The victim is Audrey Fisk, hospice registered nurse, lived alone in a small cedar-sided house on the western edge of Bozeman. Her Subaru Forester is located 2 miles away on Forest Service Road 74. This was not robbery. This was not random. This was targeted, precise, professional. To find who pulled the trigger, investigators had to trace 17 years of quiet devotion. Audrey Fisk was born and raised on a family ranch 30 miles outside Billings. Big skies, hard work, early responsibility. She knew from childhood she wanted to be a nurse. Funded her degree with night shifts at a diner and summer ranch labor. Graduated 1995. Spent her 20s in the high adrenaline world of hospital medicine, EQ nights, ER chaos, codes that ended in silence. The pace kept her sharp but eventually broke something inside her. In 2005, at 35, she transitioned to hospice care. One patient, one home, one ending at a time. The work was slower, heavier, more intimate. She excelled at it. Patients asked for her by name. Families leaned on her. She had an uncommon ability to sit in grief without flinching, to speak truth gently, to make fear feel less suffocating. In the spring of 2006, the agency assigned her to Estelle Bishop, 67, newly diagnosed stage 3 breast cancer. Estelle lived in a low-slung contemporary home on the outskirts of Bozeman, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the Bridger Range, walls lined with books and photographs of a life well-traveled. Her husband Langston, a self-made real estate developer who had shaped much of downtown Bozeman, had died of a heart attack the previous year. Estelle had 2 adult children. Julian, 43, partner at a Denver mergers and acquisitions firm. Paige, 40, senior vice president at a Seattle tech company. Both had demanding careers, young families, homes 3 time zones away. Audrey began with 3 scheduled visits a week. Symptom management during chemo, port care, nausea control, emotional check-ins. Estelle appreciated Audrey's directness. No false cheer, no empty promises. They talked about Langston's last days, about the grandchildren who lived too far to visit often, about the small regrets that surface when time grows short. The cancer went into remission in early 2007. Audrey's formal assignment ended, but Estelle kept in touch. Phone calls, handwritten notes, the occasional lunch at a Bozeman cafe. They had become friends. 3 years later, the cancer returned. Metastatic. Bones. Incurable. Estelle asked the agency for Audrey specifically. Audrey returned. 4 visits a week now. Pain pumps. Mobility help. Nights when Estelle couldn't sleep and Audrey stayed longer than protocol allowed. Julian flew in twice that year. Once for Christmas, once for Estelle's birthday. Paige managed 1 visit around Thanksgiving. Both left early for flights, citing work deadlines, school events. They called regularly enough. They loved their mother. They were simply occupied. Audrey wasn't occupied. She was present. By 2010, the disease reached a fragile plateau. Aggressive treatment slowed progression. Estelle lived in a kind of suspended state, not declining rapidly, not improving. Audrey reduced to twice weekly visits. Still came, still listened, still remembered details. The cancer advanced again. Liver, lungs. Oncologists gave 2 years. Estelle was 76. Audrey returned to intensive care care, 4 to 5 visits weekly, full palliative mode, comfort over cure, dignity above all. For the next 8 years, Audrey was a constant in that house. Estelle noticed. She told Audrey repeatedly, "You're more family to me than anyone else has been in years." Audrey always deflected, "I'm just doing what I'm paid to do." But they both understood the deeper truth. November 2019. Estelle, 80, had endured a brutal week, pain breakthrough, discouraging scans. Audrey stayed late, adjusting morphine, holding her hand through waves of nausea. When she finally stepped into the hallway to leave, Estelle followed on her walker, stopped her, reached out. They embraced. Estelle cried. Audrey held her. The hallway camera recorded it. 6 seconds of unscripted humanity. Estelle lived on for 3 more years. In late 2020, she quietly revised her will. Not through Julian's firm, a trusted private attorney she had known since the 1980s. Previous will, estate divided equally between Julian and Paige, approximately $4.5 million each. New will, $500,000 to Julian, $500,000 to Paige. The balance, $8.2 million to Audrey Fisk. Estelle told the attorney, "Audrey has been here through every recurrence, every hospital stay, every night I thought I wouldn't wake up. My children have their own lives. Audrey chose to make mine bearable. That matters more than blood." She instructed that her children not be informed until after her death. January 14th, 2023. Estelle died peacefully at home. Audrey was at her bedside, holding her hand as her breathing slowed and stopped. Julian and Paige arrived for the funeral. Small service at a Bozeman chapel. Audrey attended, sat in the last row, left without speaking to the family. 2 weeks later, the attorney called them to his office for the reading. They entered expecting routine division, heard the bequests, sat in stunned silence. Julian broke it. "This has to be a mistake." The attorney read again, produced the 3 competency affidavits. Paige's voice rose. "Who the hell is Audrey Fisk?" "Your mother's nurse," the attorney answered. The attorney cautioned, the will was meticulously constructed. 3 physicians. Clear intent. Contesting would drain time and money with little chance of success. They didn't listen. Probate opened. Assets frozen. Julian and Paige hired private investigators. Background on Audrey, spotless. No criminal history. No financial red flags. 17 years of hospice work, patient after patient requesting her return. The investigators pulled archived security footage from the hospice facility. Found the November 2019 hallway clip. Julian and Paige watched it obsessively. Saw tears, saw vulnerability, saw dependence. Proof, they insisted. Grooming, emotional coercion over years. They submitted the footage to probate court. March 2023, Gallatin County hearing. Their counsel played the 6 seconds repeatedly. Argued pattern of manipulation. Audrey's counsel, working contingency, called geriatric psychologists, hospice ethicists, grief specialists. They dissected the clip. Estelle initiates contact. Mutual embrace. No coercion visible. This is authentic gratitude after 17 years of compassionate care, not predatory behavior. Medical records introduced. 3 independent evaluations confirming Estelle's capacity at signing. April 3rd, 2023. The judge ruled, will valid. Competency established. No evidence of undue influence. Distribution to proceed. Audrey would receive $8.2 million within 30 to 45 days. The story leaked. Local headlines. Bozeman children lose $8 million to mother's longtime nurse. Regional outlets picked it up. Online comments polarized. Some called it rightful reward. Others called it suspicious. Julian and Paige were publicly humiliated. Professional reputations tarnished. Personal lives dissected. They could not accept defeat. Julian, familiar with estate timelines from his early practice, knew the window. Once validated, final asset transfers would occur quickly. After that, the inheritance was Audrey's forever. If she died before transfer, probate would reopen. Delays, new scrutiny, perhaps grounds to reopen the contest. They had 4 weeks, maximum. Early April, a private meeting, no attorneys, no spouses, just brother and sister in a Denver hotel suite. Legal remedies exhausted. One irreversible option remained. Julian had contacts from decades in corporate law, clients who knew discreet operators. He made a single call. Within days, $50,000 cash. Half up front. Audrey's home address. Work schedule. Daily patterns. April 18th, 2023. Evening. Audrey finishes her last shift. Emotional, exhausted from grieving Estelle, from the trial, from the media glare. Drives home. Pulls into her driveway at 8:07 p.m. Steps out of the Subaru. A figure in black emerges from the side yard. Gloves, mask, silenced pistol. No words. Raises the weapon. 1 shot to the back of the head. Audrey collapses instantly. He checks for pulse. None. Loads her into a waiting SUV. Drives 40 minutes into the Bridgers. Selects a remote spur off Bridger Canyon Trail. Places her 20 yards off path. staff, returns to town. Abandons her Subaru on Forest Service Road 74. April 19th, 7:42 a.m. Hiker discovers the body. Detectives recognize the signature immediately. Execution style. No theft. No sexual assault. Professional hit. Motive was obvious. Then the will contest. The April 3 ruling. The 15-day gap before expected transfer. Financials pulled. Julian withdrew $25,000 cash April 5th, 2 days after losing in court. Paige withdrew $25,000 April 6. Both claimed business expenses. No invoices. No documentation. Phone records, Julian dialed a burner number April 7th, 2-minute call. Wrong number, he insisted. Encrypted texts between Julian and Paige. It has to happen before final transfer. Make sure it doesn't close. Search warrants. Denver home. Seattle condo. Additional burners recovered. Offshore traces. The burner traced to a man listed in federal databases, prior convictions for assault, known in organized crime circles for contract work. Brought in. Plea deal. Full confession, Julian contacted him via intermediary. $50,000 total, half up front. Provided Audrey's routine, address, vehicle. Paige approved every detail. Both insisted the hit occur before the estate finalized. Arrests April 25. Coordinated. Public. Julian. 10:47 a.m. Downtown Denver law firm. Mid-client meeting with senior partners. FBI and local detectives enter. Badges flash. Julian Banks. You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder and first-degree murder. Cuffed in the conference room. Perp walk through marble lobby. News crews waiting outside. Footage airs that night. Paige. 2:15 p.m. Seattle boardroom. Quarterly executive presentation. Doors open. Seattle PD and FBI interrupt. Paige Sterling, you're under arrest, cuffed in front of 15 stunned colleagues. Building security video leaks within hours. Both careers ended that day. Julian disbarred within 72 hours. Paige terminated immediately. Trial opened September 2023 in Gallatin County Superior Court. Prosecution built an airtight case. Motive $8.2 million slipping away. Premeditation, payments, messages, execution's detailed testament, cover-up animatvul. The 2019 hallway footage played a second time, not as evidence of manipulation, but as the spark of their motive. They watched 6 seconds of genuine love and saw only theft. That resentment festered into rage. That rage became a bullet. Defense claimed desperate belief they were protecting their mother's legacy from exploitation. Jury deliberated 3 days. Guilty verdicts on all counts. Julian, first-degree murder and conspiracy, life without possibility of parole. Paige, conspiracy and accessory after the fact, 40 years. Earliest parole eligibility 2063. She will be 97. Montana's Slayer statute applied immediately. Neither can inherit from Estelle's estate. Their $500,000 bequests forfeited. The full estate, approximately $9 million after fees, would have gone to Audrey. Audrey died before final transfer. Inheritance passed to her designated beneficiary, her younger sister, the Audrey Fisk Compassionate Care Scholarship, full tuition awards for nursing students committing to hospice and palliative care. Preference for those from rural Montana backgrounds. The balance invested conservatively. Estelle believed otherwise. Her will was her final, unsparing truth. Devotion outweighs Deanna. The hallway footage captured one heartbeat of that devotion. Julian and Paige twisted it into accusation. In their murder trial, it became condemnation. They killed Audrey because she earned what they assumed was theirs by default. They killed her with 4 weeks left on the probate clock. They killed her and inherited nothing. Audrey rests in a small cemetery west of Bozeman. Her grave faces the Bridger Range, the same mountains where her body was found. Some fortunes are counted in bank accounts. Others are measured in hours spent at a bedside, in tears held in a hallway, in the courage to return tomorrow, and the day after, and the year after that. Audrey gave those hours. Estelle gave her gratitude, and in the end, gratitude proved unbreakable.